welcome and thank you so much. What an incredible turnout. I'm very humbled that you're all here to learn a little bit more about this incredible technique and techniques that allow us to access so much more of who we truly are. And that's what it's really all about. It's just us being able to delve deeper and higher, if you like, so that we awaken more. And with the techniques that I use that were taught by many different teachers, it's about using those at this particular time. If you haven't noticed, things are a little crazy right now, and that's all to do with the change we're going through. You know, these ascension energies that are really rocking our world to get us to shift and awaken. So all the help is there, but we have to go inwards deeply to connect with that. So I'm going to share some of the things that I do, and then we'll have time, hopefully, to give you a little experience. That's really why you're here, isn't it? Let's face it. Okay. So, okay, let's. So I trained with Dr. Michael Newton. I was very blessed because this was the last training that Dr. Michael Newton did personally. And it was an incredible experience because every one of those therapists who were at that training, we'd come from all over the world, literally. It was held in Santa Fe. And we all recognized each other. Not that we knew each other in this life, but we all recognized each other at a deep soul level. I'd never been together with so many others in one place at one time. And when I first met Dr. Michael Newton, he zeroed in and he came over and he said, "So lovely to see you again. So wonderful to be here among all my fellow soul travelers. This is going to be a grand adventure." And oh boy, it certainly was. And I'll share little bits about that. But for me, the magic of those things coming together to draw us all together at that time. It was a little while ago now, but I've been using these techniques and practicing for some time. Well, you've all heard what Nikki said, so you don't need that. we won't bore you with more about me. But what I'd like to do is just dive straight in to talk a little bit about specifically why Michael Newton looked at life between life therapy. It's very, very similar to Dolores Cannon's quantum technique. Some of you I know have experienced that or had a knowledge of that. But Michael Newton's incredible findings that he had documented were very clearly research-based. I mean, he was very much a scientist. Yes, deeply spiritual man, but he had that science bias, so he was able to catalogue incredible numbers of clients that he'd worked with, and he shared so much of his work with us when we went through. And of course, after, this was a few years before then, it's more than 7,000 cases that he had documented. That's a phenomenal number. And all of those were, some of them are documented in Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls as two books. If you haven't read, they're really good reads. So there was just this incredible body of knowledge that he was able to base this work on. And with all the other increased work in this field now, we really see that this is now very accessible to a lot more people. I haven't mentioned on here the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Anyone know? Yeah? Yes. Yeah. Well, again, he's working with the quantum field. Dr. Bruce Lipton, he's done tons of scientific research with that too. So we're being inundated now with all of this incredible scientific backed knowledge about what we can do as human beings, how we can access greater aspects of ourselves to really, wake up, to remember the truth of who we are. So really wonderful stuff. So what does this mean for us then? Well, the soul journey explores the possibilities for healing, to know purpose, to explore and heal other lifetimes, accessing Akashic records. Really, it's like, what do you want to know? You can find out. There's so much. It's literally endless. For myself, my own personal session, which I'll share more about with you, that I had with Dr. Michael Newton, explored aspects of my soul that I had no clue about at that time. Off planet, I know. All kinds of very bizarre and strange experiences. And I'm a very grounded person. I'm an earth sign. You know, I like to anchor things. I've been a nurse, you know, I'm anchored, but when you go off and explore some of these other things, it's like, really, is this true? Can this be so? But when we're in that quantum space, we're in such a beautiful connection with our own higher divine aspect. It's not doubted. There is an anchored knowing within you that it's unequivocal. And I even said to one of the facilitators who was doing a session with me in trance, I was in this deep place, and she was asking questions, and I was going, inconsequential, inconsequential. I don't normally say that. It's not something I would come up with, but my soul saying, no, we're not here for that. We're not here for that. We're going for the deep, big stuff. This is what we're up to today. And what I love about that is that we can trust. We can trust our own higher self to take us to exactly what we need to do. So particularly when I work with clients, I will go with what your higher self tells me. You may come in with ideas that, you know, well, I want to meet the council, and I want to do this, and I want to explore all these past lives. And your divine higher self will say, no, that's not what we're here for. We need to do this. We need fast access to this information, or we need to download these parts, these aspects, and you'll get what you need at an incredible pace. So it's really quite amazing. The accessing of higher dimensions becomes easier through this super consciousness that we're connecting with, or the other name is quantum field. We clear resistance, we clear all that egoic limitation, because you're not in the egoic mind. You're in that higher mind, that super consciousness. And so we open to these incredible connections and powerful insights. So how does it work? Well, basically, to access this, for most people who haven't practiced meditation, it does take a process. It takes a process of moving from one place of mind, from the conscious awareness through to that superconscious mind. And most sessions are at least 3 to 4 hours. And I've usually had to we do a consultation first and set things up. If you haven't experienced past life regression, and there are many different terms for that. So let's just also understand the term past life regression is referring to something that actually isn't true, because there is no past. Past doesn't exist, future doesn't exist, it's only the now. And that can be hard for us to get our minds around. Okay. So it's simply accessing other timeline, other information, other story that's important to our well-being. So most people can get there in 3 to 4 hours. And I was saying right at the beginning, I have had to work longer with some people, but that's why we set things up first. And if people have had at least a past life regression or timeline experience, then that really helps. So it's all dependent on your own unique ability to go into trance and to trance depth. But I don't give up easily. And that's why some of them have lasted 6 hours. It's like, no, we're here, we're going to do it, we're going to get through, and we generally do. And this is just to give you that idea of, what state we're looking to go into. The beta state associated with worry, stress, paranoia, fear. There's a lot of that around at the moment. And most people are in that place. So let's all take a breath and not be there. Breathe that out, breathe that away. But when we move into any kind of relaxation, or even using the breath, and just placing our hand over the heart and taking a few deep breaths aligns us immediately to allow heart and mind to connect, and we begin to calm. So that's always a wonderful little technique that just helps us get here, get grounded, get present. And so that then begins dropping us into alpha. And it is a wonderful place, very harmonious, very peaceful, and most relaxation, most visualization techniques will take us there. But what about going a little deeper? Yeah, into theta, where insight, intuition, inspiration, and that deeper, more trance. And dependent on the person, we'll float in between until we kind of anchor and align with our divine self, our higher self. And then that connection is on. And what's so fascinating is it doesn't matter what's going on around us. And in the early days, I used to worry about, if the dog barked or some movement was going on outside. And I'd be like, oh no, they're going to wake. And it's like, no, they're really in a great place. And even if, it's been 3 hours and you need to go to the loo, that's the toilet. What's wonderful is that your own system is clearing. So you get up, I escort you to the toilet, you go, release, you come back, and boom, go straight back in. And 99% of the time, it's that release that the physical body is saying, we've got to detox a little here as we're going along. So it's incredibly perfect and aligned. So as I've just said, alpha, beta and alpha, that light meditation. When we're in alpha and we go deeper, this is where we recover childhood memories and past trauma. The thing with a Life Between Lives session, we don't stop to do the healing and work around childhood in that regressive phase. It's like we collect it. It's like, no, let's not stop here. We're going to bring everything that's needed and we go to the deeper place. Because that's just going to be distracting. We don't need to do that, because when you're in that deeper space, that space of superconsciousness, that quantum experience, you've got access to so much more of you. Let's not stop and do it at the minuscule level. Let's get all of us, all the biggest part of ourselves, to work on those pieces. So it's the superconsciousness that we're accessing. And if people drop into this, well, we just give a nudge and you come back up again. But it's very rare that happens, so that's wonderful. But that just gives you, a little overview of those terms. When we reach that state of superconsciousness or the quantum state, we transcend our egoic nature. And what I mean by that is this connection to the all-knowing aspect of us. So there's no doubt and there's no fear in that space. The information that comes through, it's like it anchors into us it's a knowing. It's hard to describe without experiencing that. But it's not just I'm thinking about that, I have that thought. It's like deep inside. No. Have you ever had that, where you know something? You know it to your very bones. That's the experience. So it's like really anchoring into our whole being. And so that accessing means that it's with us. We're waking up those other aspects of ourselves. We're remembering parts of us that we haven't had access to in lifetimes. So, past and present human lives are seen as but alter egos of an eternal identity. Maybe so, ego, why not? In this state of heightened perception and deep knowing, the client's then able to find their own answers to the questions of who am I, why am I here, where do I come from? And what we often find, people who come for an LBL, they'll say, I want to know my purpose, I want to know why I'm here and what I'm doing. But so very often, it's actually more than that we get, because we then wake up to more of who we are already. There's nothing I've got to seek. There's nothing outside of me that I've got to find. It's like turning on a switch and activating that part within us. I recently had a lady who came who had her whole life wanted to write children's books. She'd got all these stories and all these diagrams and drawings. They're fantastic, but she'd never had the courage, really, to do that. She had her session. It was totally anchored into her that this was exactly what, was for her. And I have a copy of the book. Because this is what it's activating within us. It cuts through those doubts, those fears, all of those old beliefs that we carry, the things that stop us from being the light that we truly are. We hover around in so much fear, and I know for myself, why I perhaps don't do as many of the things that my soul is saying, you could have done this or you could have done that. It's like, it's okay, no judgment, but take this opportunity, try this, and then we step into that, okay. But what I love about an LBL experience is it does change us. It changes our perception of who we think we are. And I've just been a witness to that for so many times. And we also open up and access other aspects of self. Like I was alluding to at the beginning, that we're not bodies. This is a vehicle for this time. Isn't it fascinating to think that you've had many different vehicles and you chose this particular one? And if people suffer with ill health and different issues with the physical body, maybe dis-ease, there's a great knowingness and a great understanding that occurs from that divine aspect that then can help you just be at ease and be okay with where you are with that. And especially if it's very purposeful in terms of where you are in the moment and what's occurring. So one of the most profound spiritual experiences available is this direct contact. And the direct contact, it's unique to everybody. So for some, it's personal teachers known as spirit guides. And some of you may have had connection with your own guides or angelic beings. And for some people, they've never had that, and it's incredible. I remember for my husband, who I didn't know I was going to share this with you tonight, but I'm sure he won't mind. When I got back from doing this training with Dr. Michael Newton, I got back and I was tired. It was pretty intensive, incredible, beautiful. And my husband says, okay, can we do my session? I was like, oh, really? Okay. So I did this session for him. And one of the most incredible moments, and we talked about this just the other day, was when he and his guide were face to face, being to being, as it were. And he showed him his colours. The guide showed my husband the energetic being that it was, and it was profound. And it was like that woke him. And then he was like, oh, I've missed you. Oh my gosh, where have you been? And of course, our guides, right here. Hello. But these experiences, you know, I can share this with you, but there's nothing like when you have it for your own being. And you know, this was many years ago that my husband experienced this. But you know, just telling me again, you could see it was there. It was so much a part of him now. And the truth of it is, it wakes that aspect of us up. So the other piece is we meet who we need to meet in that space. Sometimes it's hard not to get caught up in a narrative or a story. You know, people talk about, you know, past lives, I've been this, I've been that, and hey, I've had those too. But the most important component about those experiences is, what is it that I took from that? What is that awakening in me now? Why is that important? Why am I being shown that? It's not the story, it's not the persona, but the what is it about that that's awakening this cellular memory within me, that I might bring this forth in this experience, in this lifetime. So again, downloads of those kinds of things is just really wonderful. And so because of these connections, it does become very therapeutic. And there is this transcendental awareness of having a personal relationship with a higher power. And since we're all so unique, it's very different for every individual. Mine was very different from my husband's experience. I actually got downloaded with light language, which I'd already started to open up to many years before, after my near-death experience. But I'm so glad Dr. Michael Newton was the trainer at my piece, because I was like a dolphin. We'll just call it dolphin energy. And I'm on, we actually did it at a hotel. We had rooms, and I was lying on the bed like a dolphin and singing loudly. But I wasn't on my own. As I mentioned, this whole group were doing incredible things like this. And because Dr. Michael Newton, he knew exactly. And so he'd popped his head in to check in on us who were being trained, and I'm the one that's doing it. And apparently he went, oh, marvellous, yeah, I thought she'd be doing that, you know. But the experiences that we have are right for us. And that, for myself, it simply attuned me more. And really kind of anchored all of that in, so that I'm attuned to bringing that forth now. Not always easily, but. So we sometimes think of, you know, this pathway, this soul journeying, as connecting sometimes with others who've gone before, others that we miss deeply. And there is that part to it as well that is very healing. And so there is a sharing very often of our soul group and others who might come in. And the Life Between Lives, Dr. Michael Newton method is very, very much regimented. Now I'm trained in that, but I'm also trained in other techniques. So I tend to decide what we need. And your higher self will let me know, and if one way is not right for you, we do it the other way. So there are many different techniques, but the wonderful thing is not being stuck with one. I know a lady had mentioned earlier that, you know, the Newton technique was perhaps good for her because she needed time to feel more comfortable, more relaxed. And so that's really important when we're opening up. You know, there's a lot of fear that we hold. You know, it can feel scary about getting to know those aspects of ourselves, which for me is such a sad thing, because on the other side of that, it's so incredible and so beautiful, and there's so much to be gained if we can just move past that fear and resistance. But that's being human. You know, we're always doing the best we can, but we do have to transcend fears and resistance too. So for those more experienced meditators and souls who are awakening, there is a deep trance process that I use to merge with the higher divine self, and then we come from that space of pure knowing. And for that soul, you know, when you've done a lot of other work, you don't need to access the same things that other people do. We're not all the same. We're all very unique. So, you know, you might read the book and you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to meet with the council, I'm going to meet with my soul group, and then we're going to do this and this, and I'm going to check in about, you know, my body, you know, why I chose this one. And like I was saying earlier, we get there and it's like, no, that's not for you. You're going to do this. You need to have this download. You need to have this energetic. It might be that you just download codes and coded galactic language. I've had a client do that, who was seeing only color, and the sounds and the coding was just being poured into her being. And for, you know, I don't know how long. It was a good length of time. But that was so perfect for this beautiful millennial being who was pretty awake, and then she was just getting, it was like all the switches going on. And her divine higher self was saying, okay, it's time. We're going to tune that, you know, it's like tuning in that old wireless radio, you know. Let's tune everything in so that you're now off and running. So, but obviously there are others who it's meant for us to meet, you know, these different souls. So meeting with that higher dimensional group consciousness, or sometimes known as the council, might be fit for you. And again, there might be a couple of people there, beings, energies, or there might be a whole host of them. Everybody's different. And like I say, there can be energy alignments, activations. It's all about what's unique for you. And it opens the gateway. That's what's so incredible for me, is that it opens our intuitive gateway a little more. Sometimes, like I was saying, we have a lot of resistance to move through. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, you can acknowledge that we carry fear, we carry resistance, it's embodied. We carry a lot of trauma and grief within our whole being. Personally, I've had a great deal of experience of accessing other lifetimes, if you like, and having those downloaded in my being. And so I know that a lot of the fears that I have held are due to, you know, I particularly wouldn't recall necessarily burnt at the stake, but I had many others of those kinds of trials, you know, thrown in a Scottish lock with stones tied to me. You know, you don't kind of want to say that you're a healer, or, you know, that you've done these things before when you've had these experiences. I'm just saying, you know. So we carry those memories. We carry that, you know. We also carry, there's a lot right now. I don't know if you're attuned to the Atlantean Lemurian pieces, without going off at a tangent too much on this. But those of us who have very significant awareness in lifetimes, Lemuria, Atlantis, there is a collective consciousness of catastrophe. And a lot of us are healing a lot of that. And so that's coming through. So a lot of my clients currently, that, you know, that's what's going on. Healing those deep, catastrophic, embodied aspects that we still carry, and it's time to clear. It's time to get all of that out and gone. So really fascinating, interesting times that we're in. So I'll share a few case studies. So this particular one, this was quite an incredible story that this young woman came with. She was very, very disillusioned with her life. Relationships and just everything was just not working. And she was in a lot of despair. And she'd had a very traumatic grief experience. Her oldest sister had died to suicide. She'd taken her own life. And that had rocked her world and left her devastated. And it had been some years before. And it was a huge weight that this young woman carried. And when she came, she had a lot of fear. She was, very trepidatious about it, a little cynical, but she was pretty easily able to go into the space. And what was so beautiful for her was when her guide came in. She wasn't quite certain at first, and it took her just a second, and then this realization and the floods of tears, and then the grief was expelled when she recognized it was her sister who was now her guide. And it was so purposeful, and the whole experience had meant that she had had to transcend a great deal of fear and other aspects, that only through that process was she able to do that. And we're in our human state, we can't see those things, and especially when we're in deep grief. It's not something we can even hear. It's like, when we're really in that place. But in that deeper trance space, that knowing was anchoring in, and the full-on experience was so profound for her. And yeah, it changed everything. It just changed everything. And even though we were asking for other information and questions, it was almost irrelevant after that. It's like, oh, that's why she was here. That was the piece. That's what she needed. And it totally altered everything for her, because throughout this lifetime, that's who her guide is. That's who's walking with her through her life. And with more practice, she was meditating daily, etc., and then being able to really connect with that in a very meaningful way. So that one stayed with me. I was like, yes. And then this was really interesting to me. And I still know this guy. This was so amusing, because he'd come in to say, I want to go through a lot of different past lives. I want to see what I've done. And he was a bit of an adrenaline junkie, actually, this young guy. And when we attempted to access other lifetimes, his higher self was very insistent. And he was told, no, we aren't going any further with that. It's a waste of time. Well, he had hardly had any on this planet. He'd only had a few. And so his higher self was like, it's really irrelevant. You've only had a few. There's nothing really much to see. And so, this young soul to this planet it was important for him to pursue earthly experience. And sometimes we judge those things as humans, don't we? If there's somebody who's going off bungee jumping, and then they're doing something else to get the adrenaline fired, they're like, oh gosh, look at that lifestyle or whatever. But that was what he was supposed to be doing. He was supposed to be immersing himself fully in every earthly experience he could, and he does to this day, because that's what his soul was requesting of him. And he was an ex-Marine. That tells you something. So he was doing the things that he was supposed to. He was on track. But the experience with this then gave him that insight that there was also more, and there was another aspect. And this particular one was many years ago, and I still know this man, and he is now coming to that more inner spiritual connection. But he had to do this first. He had to do all of these other things first. So it's always so fascinating to have this awareness, to help us understand. And with that understanding, or inner standing, we'll say, with our inner standing, we then can really kind of motor through and do the things that, perhaps we would not have done with great joy and great love in our hearts. So another component, some of the experience that are open to us is being shown our energetic colours. It's always kind of a fun little piece that I like to start with. So it's the sounds or energetic signature. And many clients are shown their auric energy signature through the identification of colours that they imbue. Now, remember, we're only seeing colour on one spectrum here. And so I've had clients who, they can't even identify the colours they're seeing. Or I had one girl who was partially blind, who wasn't particularly visual, obviously, in her experience, but the colours she said that she was getting and that she was seeing, she said, I don't even know how to describe this to you. I can't. It's just so different from what we're used to. It's like the spectrum has opened up. And so she was able to get this whole other range and then recognize, you know, that she could tap into this as an energy signature, not just visually, but as an energy signature. For example, I was also shown mine to be kind of blue, green, and purple energies. And that was really fascinating to me because I had been told, like years and years before by, you know, psychic reader or something when I was about 16, that I had these colours around me, and at the time I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, sure. Yeah. And then, you know, at later times when we fully understand what that means, and they change too, depending on what we're up to and you know, what we are and what we're doing. But it was, yeah, very right on for me. And the strong blue particularly, which I, you know, that again was shared later on in my 20s. I didn't understand fully, because we still didn't know at that time much about highly sensitive people or empaths and all of that scale and spectrum. That was, I was being attuned to my own superpower as an HSP, a highly sensitive person. And so that was very difficult for me at that time, particularly, you know, as unhealed at that time as I was. But again, these things given to us to help validate, to help deepen our own inner standing. And then we kind of look back and we go, oh, goodness, now I get it. Okay, that makes sense. And it's just wonderful then how we move quickly through some things that we're dragging with us, you know, some old beliefs or things that, you know, I always imagine that we've got these backpacks, this rucksack. And, you know, you're going around and it's really heavy, you know. And we take things out of that and we throw it in front of us so that we're still scared of going that way because, you know, you've just taken it out of there and thrown it forward. And that's what we seem to do throughout our lives. And so to be able to be in this place and just take it off and go, okay, I'm done with that. You know, I'm not saying we clear everything, we don't, you know. Quite frankly, if we all saw just how much we've got to deal with, we'd probably say, oh, I'm out of here, you know, I'm off. But but the wonderful thing is, with all the help that we have, and particularly at this time, and which I know so many of you are attuned to, we are, you know, we've never been in a time as incredible as this. It looks, just don't look. Because what it looks like isn't what's the truth of it, you know. The truth of it is when we connect in here and we connect to that understanding that, yeah, we signed up for this. Did you read the small print? I don't think I did. Because, you know, here we are going through this incredible time of change, incredible time of ascension, and we have much more help. We have, it's like, sometimes in my little office, I'm like, I don't know if we've got any more room for anyone else. You know, can we just, you know, let's just focus on the few that we need here at the moment. So I just know that we've got an incredible amount of assistance and help with us. You might find that interesting. I mean, again, it still changes. You know, it's like any interpretations. I think it's really important to always just do your own and what resonates for you, because we're all so unique. But those are some of the guidance that certainly with clients that I've had and that I've been able to check into. But sometimes, you can have all of those colours merged in together. And then a little bit of gold over here, and maybe a little bit of silver over here. But it just sometimes gives us the information that we need at that time. And after all, that's what it's about. So I work mainly in two ways, but I'll bring in other forms and other things as needed. I work with your guides and whoever else of the light who wishes to show up. Sometimes it might be ascended masters, sometimes a lot in these days of the divine feminine. And that divine feminine comes through symbolically as the kind of matriarchal image that is right for you. It might be Mother Mary, it might be Kuan Yin, it might be Gaia herself, that beautiful being. But so I work with either the traditional LBL process, which is the one that really takes you through nothing's linear, okay? Linear doesn't work. But a more graduational process that helps with deepening. That's part of the journey then to help build up the trance, to build up the inner trust, and develop that, okay, yeah, I'm getting this, and so that's sometimes important for us. And the other one that I do for people who are, this is the kind of one that I'll do for myself if I'm working with somebody else. Let's do this one, because I've done it many times now. This ascension process that I use just takes people through who are very experienced. Sometimes we call them light workers, starseeds. There's a whole host of different names. But just that, they're more used to going into trance, and so we can get there quicker and then get to the real work. And I always have long discussions before sessions that I usually like to talk through. And then sometimes we don't know until we get there. And then it's like, okay, I think we're going this way. And just a little information on how I work and choosing that fit. So I usually do a consultation. We identify the process right for you. And then you can access, to know a little bit more about this, on something called my HowTube channel. Now, HowTube is nothing to do with YouTube because it's my husband's video platform, and it's a video hosting platform that's not censored, and you can put anything up there you like. But it's very, very new, and but I have my channel there because it's actually like a mini website, and I can get all kinds of things on there, and so. I can, if you've signed up and you'd like more information, I will send you the link. And then what we need that helps and gives me a little bit more of a map is to have questions that you want to know. Now we do all this preparation, but then like I say, other things get thrown in. Or we might end up going off on a tangent about something that you'd never even thought of. Who thought that you were from this planet and needed, downloads from that life? Okay, let's go there. So anything can get thrown in. And I say that because that's what happened to me. I went off as an energetic being and was exploring other planetary bodies, and my facilitator wasn't quite sure what we were doing. It's inconsequential, don't worry about it. We know what we're up to. So these just, like I say, they just help. The cast of characters is family and people in your life, and especially those who are no longer on this plane. It kind of helps us to then identify these souls that show up, because they might just show up and show you colours. And then we gradually get to identify, who they are. And then you go, oh my gosh, this is Grandma. So that kind of helps. And if somebody has no experience of meditating, no experience of past life regression or Akashic record retrieval, I always like to do that session first. But anyway, so that's a little bit about that. And the session itself, at least 3 to 4 hours, to ensure that we gather all the information, that there's time as well for any downloads. Literally, if you're receiving a lot of energy work, a lot of whatever is going on that's necessary for you, we need that kind of length of time. But yeah. And so that's my contact, and my cards are over there. So if there are any questions, I'd like to take them now. And any extra information you'd like at this time. And we will be going in to do we've got plenty of time. We will be going in to have a session.
Could you just discuss timeline a little bit? Because there is no time, and we think there's linear time. But it's circular or whatever.
Okay, so sometimes it really helps to think of it in the way that if I'm a being, energetic, I can put my energy out into any facet or aspect, but my focus of consciousness is going to be here. But that doesn't mean to say I'm not playing elsewhere. I'm not up to other things. I know it blows your mind, doesn't it?
Well, ever since Seth speaks, I've been trying to work that out.
It's really hard for us human beings to wrap these kinds of things around us. But when you're in that space and we ask these questions, it's like it gets anchored in and you just go, oh yeah. And then you come back and you go, I know they told me, but I don't know if I can quite get what that was now. I just think of it in terms of I'm currently this being, having this experience. My focus of consciousness is in this here and now, right here today. I'm here with an incredible group of people who showed up to hear me talk about this. That's my experience. Now, the things that might help my journey, I will trust that my higher self gives me the guidance to drop in to my awareness, maybe other experiences, call them timeline experiences, call them past life, call them some of my Akashic record retrieval, but drop those experiences into my awareness to bring them into conscious awareness so that I can heal, utilize. Maybe I've embodied something like I was shot with an arrow, in an indigenous life here, and I've always had this pain here. About time I kind of got over that and removed that and cleared the energetic and the collection of whatever I've kept with that, and mainly the beliefs and the thoughts and the lack of forgiveness maybe, or whatever that is. So that's kind of how it works. And if anybody else wants to throw anything else in that they have knowledge about, I am not attached. Please, we can always have a discussion around this. But it is something that I think as humans, we're so used to working linearly. Right. That's what we do. And it's in language and it's in conversation. I got a calendar, for goodness sake, tells me where I am, what I'm doing, and what I'm supposed to be doing. But so we're very attached to time.
And body, you're anchored.
And body. But there's two sides to that, because in order to be in this experience, I am using this vessel. Mm-hmm. And I decided to do that. It's my choice. Like I said, I forgot to read small print, but I'm here, anchored in this one. So I gotta like this, because I chose it, for crying out loud. It's not like a dress and I don't like it anymore. There was a reason I chose this body, for all its attributes, for all that it can give me in ways that perhaps I haven't fully got consciousness of. Maybe I can, download some more of that information. And that's possible too. And it's very interesting when we see, maybe some of the choices that we said, no, I don't want to do that again. Or maybe, how many lifetimes have you had as a male? How many times have you had as a female? How many times have you had no gender? How many times, has that been a transfer? And then sets up difficulties from one life as a male to a female. What's that going to bring up in this shift? Because that's something else I see a lot of. So, yeah, fascinating.
I've just finished reading both of Dr. Newton's books, and one of the things that he mentioned, along the same line of what you're talking about, is that he's saying that our souls kind of have segments, have pieces, have, you know, we decide when we're incarnated, we decide, do we bring 45%
Yes.
of us, 75%
Yeah.
of us, and then we leave the other remaining in our spirit world or on another planet or something like that, you know, so that's also kind of what the linear time thing is.
And
So
you can change that too.
Yeah.
That's something that I've done with clients who have said, well, you know, why have we only got 35% here? That's not really going to be quite sufficient. Can we go back to the divine blueprint and alter that? And the divine higher self will let you know if that's possible or not. And I've had clients where it's been like, yeah, we need a serious upgrade, and that's the focus. That's why they're there. So we do.
I didn't know that you could do that.
Of
That's
course,
interesting.
you can ask to do anything. Doesn't mean to say that
true.
that's going to occur,
The council.
because that's not, your call at the higher level is going to be, but yeah, certainly we can ask. There's no harm in asking. Always ask. Always find out and check and see. Or then if not, it's like, well, how is that going to benefit me? What is it that I'm looking to do with only this percentage of the focus here in this life?
Didn't we decide to maybe have a more higher percentage on some other planet or
yeah,
some other
yeah.
area?
Yeah, or why am I not focused then? Why is my consciousness not focused over there and I'm kind of focusing in this one at the moment? How about we open that up? And maybe you can download me some of that information. So there's all kinds of possibilities. There is an infinite number of possibilities, but we're always guided for the highest and most perfect for where we are and what we're up to in this time and space-ish.
Could you please repeat the questions when you get them so we can get them on the recording?
Certainly. I can't even, that question was about the amount of, or the percentage of energy that we bring into through our soul at any lifetime. Backtrack, sorry. And yeah, and so with Dr. Newton's books, you get a really good grounding of, his work, that body of research, and just some of the experiences that people have had that is just so incredible. And of course, there's other, the Dolores Cannon work. There's just so much out there now. It's just so much. But there's nothing like doing it yourself, and sometimes, it's not just about doing it one time. We might, have to do it a few different times. I'm certainly glad I've done it more than one time for all the different things that came together.
And you're based in Ashland?
I'm based in Ashland, yeah. I'm just looking at the time. If you haven't got any more questions, sorry.
I have a request rather than a question. Would you mind flipping back to the screen with the colors?
Oh, with the colours. Yeah, because we'll complete this in a moment. Bring this to this portion to a close, and then we'll have a quick, just few minutes, like 5 minutes for break for if anybody needs to use the restroom, because then we'll do a session, and we'll take you into a guided session for anybody that wants to.
Do you use a singular color when you do Reiki?
I don't use a singular color. I don't. In fact, that's not. I've been trained in Reiki, but I tend to use a little. It's a little different.
Okay.
It's more channeled guidance of energy and sound. I use a lot of sound because of the light language. So very often in session, I'll always let you know, and I always check in with the higher self. But sometimes sound is more potent. It might be more of a gentle melody, or it might be something really big and booming to shift and break energies up. So we're guided in the space, and I'm told what to bring through. And again, it's it's very dependent on what the higher self is saying is right for the person. But the energy that's coming through is not coming through me. You're getting it. I'm just the facilitator, but I will bring through sound information. But the information is received by you. I don't interpret any of it. That's you. You get that. That's not my place. It's absolutely not my place to do that. What generally happens when we get to a certain space, I'm in a trance place too, because our energetics are matched. And so I'm getting where we are and what we're doing as much as you are. So I get questions, or I get the things to ask. Or if say we feel like we've got stuck, or something's going on where, okay, I don't know, this is very dark, and I feel, it's like, okay, what's going on? And then I'll get the information. But it's because our energetics are now aligned, and we're connecting up. And so I get that. But the interpretation is yours. And that's so important, because I have my own beliefs and thoughts and everything that can get in the way of that. So I'll help you to maybe untangle sometimes some things with asking questions, but certainly not. I'm not the interpreter for that. You had a question.
Yeah, but I don't know how to frame the question. But in your sessions, how many have you heard that, like, when a person talks to their higher self and stuff, and then they come and say, oh yeah, that person's when they're in deep sleep, they're working over here, and they're really tired in the morning because they're actually doing work on another planet.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can find those.
A lot? Is that why we all drink so much coffee?
if that's something that's really important for you to know, because sometimes you don't know that. I think there's more of that goes on than we know, to be honest. But if that's something that you have got an intuition about, or you kind of have a sense about, then you can check that out. And you can even say then, okay, well, maybe, is there a reason why I don't have full awareness of that? Is that something that I can start, remembering? Or is there a reason you're not letting me see that? Maybe what I'm really doing over there is I really don't want to know, in my conscious awakening. But you can receive that information. But that's not as, it happens a lot.
Yeah, it's like reoccurring dreams that are like,
absolutely.
You're helping people.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm really tired. Why was I working over there? I gotta go to work.
When Hurricane Katrina hit, I was having all these dreams about that. And I was like, am I doing something there? And my shaman friend helped me go into session, and it was like, well, you don't need to sign up with the Red Cross for that. You're already doing it. And there's a whole team that's working this. And it's like, oh, okay, that's got that covered. I still did, actually, because I still wanted to do it. But those things are very common. But there's often reasons why we don't have that conscious awareness, because it can be such a distraction. That's the other interesting thing for me, is that many people say, well, why don't I have these psychic experiences? Why aren't I seeing my guides? Why aren't I seeing angelic beings? Well, for some people that would be way too much of a distraction. Whereas the work has to be in here. Let's get this inner standing connection done. Let's get that divine connection set up first. And maybe then the acknowledgement is, oh, I don't need that. I can just then go straight direct to source and download what I need. So there's reasons sometimes we don't have access to those things, but you can ask about that and find out. And it might be it's not at this time. I was asking all kinds of different questions when I was in session years ago, and I get that a lot. It's not relevant at this time. You're not going to tell me? It's not relevant at this time. Oh, okay. So that happens too sometimes. You have a question?
Yeah. It's a little bit Okay, and I read the first book about 3 times. I'm into that part of it. You meant, I was piqued, or you meant you were talking about this ascension, supposed ascension that's going on. I've been into this stuff since the mid-70s, and I can see, I could see if it was happening, and I'm very cynical about it. I don't know what are these guides saying. I don't see any ascension.
And I can understand that that's where you are, and that's totally fine. We're all different. We're all unique. My experience is that that's where we're at, and yours is that's where you're at. So, and since my experience is mine, your experience is yours, and that's absolutely perfect. It doesn't have to be the same. It really doesn't. So, thank you for sharing that, and I think it's time to have a quick little break, and then we'll go into a session. We'll just wait until everybody has taken a seat. Obviously, we can't dim the lights completely and entirely, and so some of you may be able to go. Some of you might not, but just enjoy the experience, just as it is. Don't put any expectations on yourselves, okay? My invitation is that you sit in the way that's going to help your energies flow the best for you. So that's generally with our feet on the floor, both feet on the floor. You want your back supported. You don't want to be slouched, because after 35, 40 minutes in a slouched position, you'll know about it tomorrow. Before we begin, let's just gently shake out any tension from just sitting and being here for a while now. Just do whatever feels right that you need to do just to be here. Some of you are already just getting into that more relaxed place. Some of you are very experienced at this, so forgive me because I'm going to pace it for those that aren't. But if you find yourselves going wherever, just go ahead. Do what you need to do. For those of you that choose, you can listen to my voice and I'll just guide you. We're going to use just gentle relaxation and a visualization today. Let's start with the breath. Inhaling to the inner count of 3, and then exhale to the count of 6. And you're going to do that a few times, just in your own way. Shorter inhale, deeper exhale. Just keep that going. And you're just allowing yourself just kind of settle in. Coming into a calmer place. Using the breath just to ease out any tension. There's nothing that you have to do, nothing that you have to try today. This is simply an invitation to just go inward and enjoy. So settling in with your breath so that it becomes just gentle and comfortable. And I just want to check that everybody can hear me and that my voice is carrying to everyone. Everybody okay with that, where it is at this time? Perfect. And I'm going to invite you that if there are any noises, whether that's maybe a little cough, maybe some sounds in the room. Just let those flow through you. Consider it practice, a beautiful practice to simply get used to letting things move through, letting it go. So there's nothing you have to do, nothing you have to try. We're just having fun here, just part of the experience this evening. I'm going to invite in some of our beautiful, loving, angelic guides and those beings of love and light coming in with the highest energetic signature of love. We're going to call in that divine source light, Christed light, to pour down. And just imagine that beautiful golden Christed light pouring down over the very top of your head, just pouring through, coming through the crown chakra, bathing your head, easing out all tensions. With every breath, that beautiful divine light easing through, bathing the neck, bathing the shoulders, easing out any tensions and tightness, relaxing all the way down the spine, all the way down. A little more relaxed, letting the breath flow gently, easily, moving into that calmer, relaxed space of being that's perfect for you. And that beautiful light coming in gentle, pulsing waves, almost like the ocean, gently moving through you now, all the way through, all the way down the arms, into the hands and fingers, down into the heart center, pouring down, radiating down. That beautiful divine golden light knows exactly where you're needing it at this time. You can trust that golden light, that divine light, to go to exactly where it's required for your well-being or any healing that's needed at this time. And that beautiful light flowing, filling all of that chest area, flooding, bathing those lungs and the heart. Further down into the abdomen, and all of those organs. So everything working in perfect harmony. How amazing, how beautiful, as that light eases its way through, like those beautiful waves of the ocean, gently pulsing through you, calming, radiating through. All the way down now, down into the pelvis and hips. Easing out all tension, tightness. Down the legs, bathing those thighs and those knees. How we work those knees. So that golden divine light bathing your knees and the lower legs all the way down to the feet and the toes. And that light anchoring you into the earth. And maybe, if you feel it's a possibility for you, you can send a little wave of gratitude from your heart down to Gaia. Just send her a little wave of love, of gratitude. You never know. She may just surprise you with a gentle wave back. And just breathing gently and slowly, every breath in, pulling in those waves of relaxation, bathing all of you. This gentle flood of golden light throughout your whole being, relaxing your body, bringing your mind more and more in tune with the deeper aspect of self. There's nothing you have to do, nothing you have to try. Just breathe. Soothing light flowing through you now. Pouring through you. Our minds can be so busy, but this light permeates the mind, driving out those thoughts. If you've ever seen a beautiful mountain lake in the early morning, when the mist hovers over the lake, and as the sun comes higher in the sky, shining down, that mist dissipates, just like your thoughts, now dissipating in the light. Calmer, more quiet, every breath in increasing the light, helping to disperse that mist, those thoughts. All tension, all tightness is an area of relative darkness, easily dispersed by the light, gently, easily. You're opening yourself up to receive insight, guidance, clarity at this time. Just allowing the energies to flow through you. The deeper you go, the better it feels. And the better it feels, the deeper you can go. Breathing into it. With every breath in now, that relaxation flooding your whole being. Energy and rhythms of your body synchronized, allowing you to go even more deeply relaxed. Mind lighter, clearer, more relaxed. Another gentle breath in sets off another beautiful wave of deep relaxation. Twice as deep, twice as relaxed. You may find your body feels heavy. You may find your body feels light. It's all unique to you. There's no right or wrong here. But in your mind's eye, just notice. There is a certain light within you. Some call it heart light, Christ light, Buddha light. That spark of light within you. And we're just turning it up a little more. brightening that beautiful divine spark of light that is you, turning that up, and it's shining so bright now that it's emanating from your whole being, encasing you in this beautiful bubble of light, and so that you can feel safe, secure. Being in this protective bubble, this luminous shield of divine light, and feeling safe, feeling secure within you, you're better, more able to receive those messages from your higher divine self, that higher intelligence. And whatever wishes to come through at this time to bring clarity, comfort, perfectly unique for you. Here in this space, feeling that safety, that comfort, I'm going to invite you to mentally disengage in a safe and relaxing way out from here in this room on a bright, beautiful, warm day, drifting, floating towards that perfect mountain meadow. Now drifting, floating to a place of perfect peace and contentment. Warm sun shining on this perfect day, drifting and floating to a meadow. Perhaps the trees standing as sentinels, beautiful tree beings protecting that place, ensuring its safety for you with their beautiful energy, so that you can comfortably, safely drift into that meadow, drifting down gently onto a beautiful carpet of grass. There, lying in the meadow, allowing any sounds just to simply drift through, tinkling bells. Perhaps that's angels calling. Maybe that's the sounds in the meadow of chimes. Whatever's right for you. Let it be. Gently sinking into the meadow. Can you even feel the contours of the meadow, of the earth herself, sinking a little deeper onto Gaia? Let the Earth Mother, this sentient being, hold you. You are a divine child of the universe. Here by invitation, here because you've chosen to be. Feel yourself sinking into the meadow. Gently, no resistance to the earth herself. Safe, relaxed. I'm going to count downwards from 4 to 1. At the count of 1, you will find yourself deeper than you've ever been. So easily and effortlessly going deeper and deeper down, attuning to this inner journeying, attuning to your own inner self, attuning to open to awareness. On 4, letting go a little more in a safe and relaxing way. 3, deepening down. 2, relaxing, deepening, doubling. And 1, fully relaxed, attuning to the journey deeper into your own superconsciousness and memory. Bathe in these calm, relaxed sensations. Feel the allowance of that, the beauty of that for yourself. Notice how that feels. Calmly, gently, attuning simply to being in this very deep, safe, relaxed space. It's all unique to you. You're flowing easily and effortlessly deeper into your own heart wisdom, heart love. As we ignite the heart, it brings us home. To see through the eyes of the immortal soul and to allow greater enlightenment of the conscious mind. New insight brings growth and understanding from experiences you only thought you had misplaced. And feeling this security of your own inner knowing, the heart wisdom, and that beautiful Christ Buddha light encasing you. You're better able to receive the messages, the understanding and inspirations from your own higher divine aspect, your own self, and through your heart wisdom, to bring you insight, security, comfort. Through the avenue of the heart, all things are revealed to you. With this insight comes growth, comes understanding from experiences you only thought you had misplaced. So we're going to go back as if in time. Almost like looking through an old photo album. All of these memories, all stored within you. We're going to access only pleasant or happy memories. Or some it might be neutral. We're going to stay very much with pleasant and happy memories. So we're going to go back to a time around 18 years of age. You may see images. Some of you may see colours or energy. Some may have sounds. Remember your own unique experiences. It's important. Your perception is yours. Your experiences is your own. Just be the observer. And we're going to continue to go a little further back, checking on frames of being younger, perhaps 12 years old, or around that time. Again, a neutral or happy memory. Perhaps it was a favourite toy, a favourite playmate, or a companion animal. Something that was special and precious to you at 12 years old. Just be the observer and notice. Notice what comes into your awareness. Just look and listen, sense the experience. Just embracing sensations and feelings, neutral or happy memories. Now we're going to go a little further back. If you're able to go back, gently, slowly, to a time you were maybe 5 years old. Just a little one exploring this world. You're just exploring memories. You're inviting in that experience of energy, of colour, of thoughts and knowing from that time. It is not important that you see the experience, but feel into it. Feel into it. And embrace the feeling of that 5-year-old in a neutral or happy memory. And now we're going to go a little further back, a little faster, a little further, to 4, then 3, then 2, and even further back to just 1 year old. And just come along for the journey, for this experience. Can you go a little further back? Exploring the time of your birth. And even further back in the womb space. What's that like? Feeling yourself in the womb space. That deepening, calming experience. So calm, so safe. Perhaps you might even hear your mother's heartbeat. There might be sensations or feelings that you're attuning to in the womb. It's a safe, warm place, a secure place. Maybe you can recall this time growing, perceiving, a time of movement, a time of preparation. Just resting now as if you are in a void of space and time. Easing into that, gently embracing that time, easing into it. A time of movement, a time of preparation. Time flows as a river passing by as you move through it, sometimes with the flow, not resisting the flow, but rather letting yourself drift aimlessly without care or concern. It's like going to that special place within, as if in a dream. You're seeking out truth and just bathing in that truth, that inner knowing. Trust. Trust your own unique ability to see, to feel or sense. That might be images, thoughts, feelings, sensations. Sometimes the emotions connected with those experiences. But you're having more understanding, more acceptance of what you see and feel. You're attuning to the journey. As we go further back, even beyond this time, leaving the mother's womb, that secure, safe place, where you feel safe and protected, nothing can harm you. Going into the blue mist. A blue mist, a beautiful blue mist enveloping you, protecting you, swirling blue colors, blue energy all around you. This is a time of trust and understanding, a time of rest, of ancient echoes, quiet movement, a time you only thought you had misplaced. You're opening up those memory banks to the remembrances of your innermost feelings. Through the avenue of the heart, all things are revealed to you. Embracing the feeling, reaching deep within, so peaceful here. And yet part of you longs for movement. And as you look out, it's as if you're looking through a long tunnel. And you begin going, flowing, moving, slowly towards a light, merging, converging. Light surrounding you, protecting your being. You emerge beyond all boundaries of space and time into an experience, a different experience, a different timeline perhaps. It's all unique to you. What do you step into now? Stepping into as you mentally inside look down towards your feet. That's right. As if you're standing in a different time and space. Standing in this space, in this place. And perhaps scenes come to you. Sensations or feelings. It might be a name, a word, or just a knowing. What is it that you are here for in this space and time? You're anchored into in this moment to explore. What is it that you're bringing back? does your divine higher self wish for you to know in this moment, for this memory that's being given, or this experience? Nothing to be forced, nothing to have to try. And if nothing comes, just know and trust. As you pull this in, you can ask for more information in the dream time. More information in another space when you're meditating. But whatever is here for you in this moment, breathe in the experience and the feeling. Perhaps it's simply accessing your own heart wisdom. Breathe into it now, whatever that might be for you, knowing that you are safe. Whatever healing, understanding or clarity that is coming to you, it is purely and purposefully perfect, just for you. And from this space of truth, if there is a symbol for you, something that helps you know that this is right for you, validating for you, we simply ask that of you. Nothing to try. It's all just an invitation. Just allowing anything to flow through as heart wisdom. I'm going to invite and open up, to invite the divine aspect that is you, to bring in to your being a flow of energy, a beautiful divine flow of healing energy, so that as you come back from this time and space, you are downloaded, given a beautiful and unique signature of energy that is uniquely yours. It may be in colours, it may be in sensations. Bathing in that now. Bathing in that now. It's this beautiful, divine, purposeful, perfectly unique to you, energetic. And if it feels right for you, I invite you to receive some sounds and tones through your heart center. You are a beautiful being of a loving universe. You are sovereign, you are divine. Receive that divine love to remember that you are that unique expression, a sovereign being, authentic and true. Breathing into it now, breathing into it. And now gently pulling that energy in, like pulling all of you in. Slowly and gently, we're leaving this high realm of your soul mind, bringing this heart wisdom, whether it was given in thoughts or understandings, trust that you have been given exactly what is perfect for you at this time, and that later, perhaps in dreams, perhaps in meditation, perhaps in contemplation, or even gardening, or some other wonderful meditative thing that you love to do, that there'll be that beautiful little snippet that simply drops into conscious awareness. A gift given to you by you from that higher, perfect, beautiful space of the divine aspect that is you. Any thoughts, any memories or insights, all can be retained and recovered to help and empower you in this life, giving you renewed energy, renewed purpose, giving your intention and your willingness to be open to receive this through the divine wisdom of the heart. And just breathing into that. And slowly and gently, you'll hear me count forwards from 1 to 10. Your body and mind will come to wakeful consciousness, rested but alert. 1, 2, 3, 4, feeling the foundation of you, your physical vessel in the chair. 5, a little changed, perhaps. 6, retaining wisdom and opening up to access even more wisdom in the future. 7 and 8, 9, completing this time, this experience. And 10, ready to start a new beginning as you go from here. Eyes open, feel your body, maybe give it a little shake, I invite you to fully anchor, fully ground before you even consider getting into a vehicle and driving anywhere. Sometimes it helps to have a little water, or just definitely have a little walk round. But use discernment, and please make sure that you are fully grounded in here, truly, before you even think about driving anywhere.
Your color sounding was beautiful.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to this experience and bringing all of this energy, your beautiful energy. Such a lovely input. Thank you.
Namaste.
You're welcome.